I'm Evan Knappen.
And I'm Teddy Knappen.
And welcome to Gun Lawyer.
Yep.
So, Teddy, what have you discovered in your travels?
Well, first off, you can stop pestering me. I finally watched Project Hail Mary.
I love that movie. It was fun. Didn't you like it, man? What a
I
good
thought
twist.
I will give it credit for a movie that's almost 3 hours long. You don't want to like check your phone or anything. You're actually very engaged. And I was like,
True.
the last 40 minutes, I'm like, okay, everything's solved. What's left for plot? And then they actually made it more interesting.
Yes.
So-
Don't spoil it for people.
No
But
spoils,
It's
but I
a
was
good
like-
one, and it is very interesting statement about government.
I was
We'll
thinking
leave it at
also
that.
I was thinking also stoicism.
Yeah. Did a great job. Really enjoyed it.
But
So
anyways,
I love talking about movies. However, this is Gun Lawyer, man, and we need
All
to
right.
talk about important New Jersey
fine.
and
The
beyond the borders of New Jersey gun
fine.
law
We'll
issues.
we'll open with this. The Attorney General's a jerk.
Wait a minute. Don't
Yeah.
go disparaging our beloved Attorney General. But why
know.
are you not happy with what the Attorney General has done?
Well, I love when they're advertising effectively legalized swatting in this latest article right from the Attorney General's website. Attorney General Davenport, Office of Alternative and Community Responses launches gun safety public awareness campaign. I want to meet the marketing team that comes up with these titles.
So if it's Gun Safety Public Awareness Team, let me guess, they're using their office to promote citizen self-defense, and so that citizens are no longer victims but can defend themselves against criminals, right? Isn't that what they're promoting and helping citizens to understand their use of force and self-defense and complete dedication to the Second Amendment right? Am I correct?
I think you forgot that this is with New Jersey, but yeah. No.
Oh, what did they do instead? Tell me.
Oh, so from the article that they put out, Attorney General Davenport of the office has launched a multi-year public awareness campaign to raise awareness about the life-saving potential of New Jersey's extreme risk protection orders.
Ah,
laws.
the red flag.
Wow.
So
Yep.
they believe that it is life-saving. Try life-destroying. If you're a gun owner and you get hit with one of these, as we talked about on a prior show, simply talking to ChatGPT led to this, where not only are the guns seized, not only is your house searched, but you're taken away for a wellness check, and his inability to give a urine sample, they shoved a catheter up his penis all over the wonderful ERPO situation. Isn't that great how that all works out? So there's a lot of downside, unless you don't consider forced catheterization up your penis a downside. I don't know. Today you don't know, but these are the kind of things that can come from ERPOs and wellness checks. It's very just astounding.
What is astounding is I love how they twist it. Just reading the article, you can feel it. I always go back to that line from Untouchables of "Let's do some good." They actually think this is actually going to solve the problems. Or right here from the Attorney General. ERPOs are a proven tool for preventing tragedies. How do I know? I pulled it out. I didn't actually say that. We are committed to using all the tools at our disposal.
This is what they put out, but the reality of it is it's a tool for disenfranchisement of Second Amendment rights, and it's a tool of confiscation of guns. It is a tool of gun rights suppression. It is designed for that purpose. There is no due process up front. These are granted ex parte. The person who's served with the ERPO has no clue that it's coming their way, has no opportunity before the damage is done to talk or speak or make their case to the judge. This is just gun confiscation in its rawest form with benefits, okay? And the benefits are taking you away for a so-called wellness check while you're at it, and to search and seize, giving the opportunity to review your guns, to take your guns, to search your house, to invade your Fourth Amendment rights as well, all done under this guise. This is something where we in the firm here deal with these all the time. And the public awareness campaign is designed to get more people to jump on this, no matter how weak the claim is, no matter whether it's for reasons that are unproven. It doesn't matter. They want these ERPOs, which when they initially issue are called TERPOs, Temporary Extreme Risk Protection Orders. Only after the issuance of the TERPO do you finally get a hearing where you get to try to fight to challenge it from becoming a final, what we call a FERPO. And if it takes place in Burlington County or Bergen County, then you, of course, are getting a BURPO. I'm just kidding about that. They don't call them BURPOs. But it is a pretty bad, rotten, terrible law that is the most extreme ERPO law in the country, and it is just rights violation from the get-go.
Well, I also, if you're going through the article, they're talking about the public awareness campaign they're going to be doing, and they say the ERPO awareness is leading up to the National Gun Violence Awareness Month in June, which I thought June was also Pride Month, but they kind of go hand in hand with the recent mass shootings. It's one of those.
It's like National Brotherhood Month. Be glad we don't celebrate it the rest of the year. I mean, good grief.
I know. You know what?
That's the old Tom Lear joke. Yeah.
You know what? I'm very aware of the gun violence. That's why people want to be armed to defend themselves. But continue. Then they go on about using billboards, bus shelter, radio platforms. Oh, by the way, everything will be in Spanish too. They boldened that and they made it very clear it'll be in English and Spanish. So okay.
The propaganda that gets generated out of New Jersey is intense, and it is going to create more and more confiscations and misery for law-abiding gun owners and their gun rights. And that's the reality of what is going on. And they have these very cute images on this article I see where they are going to promote this operation, and it's like they're like meme articles. Because of an ERPO, they're still here, and they show two people. And then they have another. Because of an ERPO, he'll graduate in June. Really? And then there's another one. Learn the facts about ERPO. Stop gun deaths. Need to talk. Blah blah blah. Okay. You know what? We could do our own memes here. We could have, because of an ERPO, this law-abiding gun owner just had their life ruined, just had their home invaded, just had their family heirloom guns seized, just had to go through an expensive court process just to get back to square one. Because of an ERPO, you see the person was taken in for a completely unnecessary wellness check and had medical procedures done to them against their will because of an ERPO. Maybe they just have a big dick pic with a catheter in it and say, because of an ERPO, I was forced to endure this. How about that for a nice image? This is what reality, when you're in the practice and you see these laws and what they do actually do to people, and what doesn't get told is what I'm telling you now, the actual effect of it, not this fluff and propaganda and claims being made that are not how we have experienced in the practice of law. And there's an extreme risk protection website, Teddy, by the way,
Yeah, they
that
make it
talks
clear in the
about
article.
this, and it has a Q&A in it. And let's take a look at the questions and the Attorney General's answers and what I think are the real answers. So, is the ERPO the same as a red flag law? It's very similar to what a lot of people know as a red flag law that exists in other states, even among states that use the name ERPO. There are some technical legal differences. Be sure any information you get about ERPOs is specific to New Jersey. Yes, the similarity ends with New Jersey not having any due process up front. It's not just a red flag law, it's a bright red, no due process up front law. Other states that may have red flags do it where you get due process up front before the order is even issued. Not in New Jersey. So yeah, it's different. It's different in an extremely gun rights suppression manner. Why are ERPOs needed? Well, an ERPO is an immediate step that can be taken to stop a violent situation before it starts by temporarily removing firearms from a person who is at risk of harming themselves or others. Yeah, it's also an immediate step that can be taken to SWAT somebody, an immediate step that can be taken when information is misconstrued. It's also an immediate step that can be taken without even truly determining whether there is an actual risk of harm to oneself or another, because the one person they're concerned about never gets an opportunity up front to actually explain whether there is or isn't such a risk. Why do people file for ERPOs? Because they've seen warning signs that someone close to them is high risk of using a firearm to themselves or other. Filing a petition for an ERPO provides safety for everyone involved and give the person in crisis an opportunity to seek help. Really? Well, so-called warning signs, again, not evaluated up front. High risk, again, not evaluated up front with any input from the person who becomes the victim of this ERPO. Filing a petition for ERPO provides safety for everyone. No, it actually doesn't provide safety for everyone. And it, in fact, endangers law-abiding gun owners of which there are cases on record, Teddy, about individuals being swatted over false ERPOs, and they end up getting killed by police because they don't even know what's going on in this raid, had no clue. Right,
Wow.
Teddy?
It's one of those things that's very disgusting. Just the very insidious nature of this, where it is legalized swatting, and there's no way about it. Like, you can just make something up, say someone said something or did something, and then they'll hand them out like candy, and then you get your life destroyed. Just going through the process. And I love the article, their whole thing in it, where they're saying we need to dispel the myths and the whole dispel the myths.
Is to create an entire myth about what it is. A judge here, what's a temporary ERPO? A judge can issue a temporary ERPO if they believe the at-risk person is an imminent threat to themselves or others. Isn't it amazing that a judge can do this believing the at-risk person is an immediate threat to them others with never speaking to the so-called at-risk person, never talking to them in advance? And a TERPO is in effect until the hearing for a final, which is typically scheduled within 10 days. And let me tell you, there's a railroading after your life has been turned upside down of the hearing on the final having to take place in 10 days. That's after all the damage has been done. After your house has been raided, after you've been forced into wellness check, after you've had your property seized and you think it's cared for real well when it's seized. After you've had this entire ordeal, then within 10 days of it, you're supposed to have a hearing. You ready for that hearing? You don't even know what hit you. How are you going to be prepared and do that? It's railroading you into a FERPO
Yeah,
instead
and,
of giving due process up front on the TURPO.
and the article tries to paint it like the court judges may issue them after carefully reviewing the individual circumstances and prompted by the petition filed by a relative, household member, law enforcement officer. The ERPO is issued only after several factors are considered, whether been arrested, charged, convicted, disorderly persons, domestic
And
violence
one of
offense,
those
stalking
factors,
offense.
Teddy, as we've reviewed, one of the factors is has recently acquired a firearm. That's actually a factor for an ERPO, is that you've gotten a gun. That means
don't
everybody
mention
that got a pistol purchase permit and got a gun, or went to the gun dealer and bought a gun, that's now an ERPO factor. Is the fact to take your gun is that you just got a gun. It's literally a factor in the law.
Well, the article ignores that exact factor. Gee, I wonder why.
They don't list all the factors because they're so outrageously vague and unbelievable, and again done ex parte. Here,
Also, if
what's
you
a
follow
final
the money-
ERPO? Before
Yeah.
a final ERPO is issued, this is all from their Q&A, a person at risk will have a chance to present evidence and testimony to the judge. If the judge believes their immediate threat of ERPO, so what does it say? Before the final. That's the only time you're going to get your chance is after the TURPO, the temporary, has issued. How long does a final last? Again, it stays in effect until the person who filed the petition or the person at risk asks the judge to end it. If the at-risk person is seeking to end the order, they must prove to the judge they're no longer a danger to themselves or others. So the burden of proof switches to the victim of the ERPO, the person whose rights have just been taken away from them and had their life turned upside down. The burden is shifted for them to have to prove, in effect, their innocence, prove they're no longer a danger. Go ahead and prove the negative. Good luck with that. What information goes into the petition? You'll need to provide specific information about dangerous behavior or threats you've witnessed. If the person owns any firearms, provide all information you may know about firearms they own or have access to. So now you have the ratting out, the giving of the information, the revealing of any firearms so that they may be confiscated. Backdoor gun confiscation. Let's have an entire propaganda campaign designed to do this. And it's even in their Q&A, all the gun information goes. And does it cost money to file? No, there's no filing fees. There's actually something you can do in Jersey that they won't charge you for, and that's if you aid and abet New Jersey in the seizure of guns and the disenfranchisement of an individual's gun rights. They won't charge you for that. Isn't that nice of them? Is a person arrested or taken into custody? No, but they will eventually be required to appear in court. Let's talk about that. Person arrested or taken into custody? Well, when they do the combo with the wellness check, you're taken in. And they goes, if you don't voluntarily go, we'll make you go. Oh, we just searched your home for guns, and we found that one of your magazines holds 11 rounds instead of 10. You're getting arrested. Or any other condition that they want to turn into criminality, you're going to be arrested and taken into custody. And if there's any type of other allegations made, you'll face those charges. And remember, this isn't just done in a vacuum. So it's extremely misleading to say a person isn't arrested or taken into custody when very often that's exactly what happens. And we've seen it because of the collateral damage that occurs from the TURPO. Does an ERPO go on a criminal record? This is again, no, it's a civil matter, not a punitive punishment. See, they don't consider taking your guns and taking your gun rights punitive or a punishment. No, this is just civil, you see. Its purpose is to give the person in danger of harming themselves or others an opportunity to address the crisis. See, this is being done for your own protection. We're doing this just for you, gun owners. We're doing it to help you because we love you so much. And it's not punitive at all, except you go into a database that declares you to be an extreme risk. Do you think being in that database is going to help you get a job? Do you think being in the extreme risk database that ERPOs put you in is going to be helpful to you? Do you think that's going to help you travel, let's say, on an airplane? Do you think it's going to help you anytime a background check is done on you? So does it have an actual criminal record? No, because there's no criminal conviction. So it would be a criminal record. But notice it doesn't say, do you get a record? Because the answer to that misleading way it's presented is yes. You're damn right you have a record. You have a record of having an ERPO and being put in a database and on a list of being an extreme risk. But they don't bother mentioning that in their Q&A.
Oh,
This is what happens. Go ahead, Teddy. What?
Well, I was going to say is one thing that does jump at the article with me. All this can be made possible from a competitive grant award from the Byrne State Crisis Intervention Program. Oh, SCIP, granted which administrated through the U.S. Department of Justice Bureau Justice Assistance. So, the insidious nature of SCIP, oh, you know what happens whenever you get thrown in because you think, oh, he said something like, oh, he's had some thoughts. We need to get him into the crisis intervention unit. He needs to be evaluated. So the doctors who evaluate you, who think you're crazy or think you're extreme, throw you into the nut house as well. That same group is pushing for red flag. Amazing.
Of course they are, because it goes together with it. And then it says, what happens to firearms when an ERPO is approved? Firearms, ammunition, and license to purchase, own, and carry must be surrendered to law enforcement. What also happens is you get put on the ERPO list. And if you fail to have guns turned in, if you fail to file that order, you can be criminally charged there for contempt. And then you become a prohibited person after that to ever possess firearms and ammunition, very similar to being a convicted felon. But notice, none of that is explained either. And then it says, when are firearms returned? When a judge terminates the order. Well, let me just tell you right now, that's not in the law. We have cases on this right now. You can go in and you can win a TURPO, but the TURPO that was defeated after your guns were seized and you went through all that, there's nothing in the statute that orders the guns themselves returned. So if the Attorney General is now saying that firearms are returned when the judge terminates the order, great, because we have cases right now where this very answer and question, I want explained why it hasn't happened to our clients. Because it's not in the law, and fighting to get it back afterwards, after you win the TURPO, where a FERPO isn't granted. It's exactly what a client we had on a couple shows ago talked about, that very thing, that very problem. They asked, how is ERPO different? Go ahead, what?
Well, I was going to say is the thing that if you kind of go through all this, looking at like the article, what they're talking about, they are just doing their all their best to muddy the waters, trying to no. It's perfectly fine. We're just going to take the firearms away, and then it won't be a problem. And then if everything's calm and the state has deemed you not an extreme risk. What do we mean by that? Well, we'll determine that from a political hack-appointed judge.
Ask any gun owner that's gone through this, and they'll tell you it's a nightmare. And this is designed to create more nightmares for New Jersey gun owners. Here, do ERPOs stop violence? Evidence suggests ERPOs are an effective violence prevention tool, particularly in cases of suicide or mass shootings. Suggests it. They don't prove it. And instead, we have tremendous violation of due process rights in this suggestion of what people go through. No actual hard evidence that it even accomplishes what it is intended to do. And of course, potential suicide or mass shootings. Well, of course, if someone's hell bent to kill themselves, last I heard, a gun wasn't the only way to do it. And if the person is determined to engage in criminal acts, a piece of paper will not stop that person. So who's it really affecting? The law-abiding citizens. And that's the ones who pay the price. And then, last question here, what happens for a petition if an ERPO gets denied? Now notice, this is really interesting. The last question is, what happens if ERPO gets denied? And it says, if municipal court denies a petition for a TURPO, the person who filed it can request an immediate hearing in Superior Court. If Superior Court judge is the one who denied the TURPO, and then, or denies the final, the person who filed can appeal to the appellate division within 45 days of the denial. Notice what they don't say. What happens if a petition is granted? Do they tell those people that they have a right to appeal? Do they mention the appellate rights of the victim of the ERPO? No, they don't. They only tell the person who filed the ERPO of their appellate rights. Well, let me tell you, if you are hit with these, you have appellate rights. You have the right to challenge it and appeal it. And they don't mention that on their website that's supposed to be so informative and to cut through the so-called misunderstandings and misinformation out there about ERPOs. But they don't even tell about the appellate rights for those that suffer under this non-due process red flag law that Jersey is probably the most extreme example of ERPO in the country. If not the most extreme, then tied for it if somebody else is out there that I'm not aware of that is copied Jersey's model.
I'm just waiting for them to up the ante where they're going to combine it with the gun owner gulag, where not only are we're not only going to arrest you, we're not just going to ruin your life, take your firearms, we're going to hold you and for trial, and the hearing also takes 6 months. Like, it comes back to the old article that you first wrote, just death penalty to gun owners, where they're at that stage, like the left hates us that much that's where they would see the justice. Like when it comes to the injustice and abuse.
They're never satisfied. And it's always take, and then the amount that they want to take, they call compromise. And then they come back for more, quote, compromise, where they take more. And then they say, well, that's a great compromise. Now we want more. It's never giving. It's never, when do you see rights expanded and respected? When do you see rights restoration to New Jersey gun owners in the broader Second Amendment sense? Only when they're forced to do it kicking and screaming, such as with carry permits. Because of the Bruin decision, they knew they had to issue them, so they create the carry killer law. So yeah, we'll issue permits, but we'll try to make it as impossible as we can for you to actually use the permit by creating 25 sensitive places in an absolutely bizarre and confusing matrix, create all these other requirements upon anybody who chooses to have a carry permit. So it's always take rights. And even when they're forced by case law to have to restore freedom, they try to find some other gambit to take freedom yet again. And this is a pattern of a gun rights suppression government. That's what we're dealing with here, and that's what we see.
I'm trying to remember, it was a comic artist, like where he was a free speech advocate, Frank Miller, and
Yes.
there's a famous a comic image that he painted where it was speaking out against the censorship of going on in the comic book industry. And it's a picture of a woman, and there's band-aids covering her eyes, covering her ears, and then one like about to go on her mouth, and the hands with the hand blob going, this last one's for your safety. It's that insanity twist of believing that this will actually make the community safe, actually thinking that this will solve the problem, when all it does is exacerbate. And good luck to every actual career criminal if they
And
ever
that's
get
if
quote unquote red flag.
we're giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're actually doing it because they really want safety and are simply misguided or wrong. But I don't believe that after practicing gun law for over 40 years in the state of New Jersey. I believe it's an agenda. It's an agenda of gun rights suppression, and that its foundation is simply that of being evil and wanting to go after rights, and that I don't give them the benefit of the doubt as to their intention. Their intentions are to destroy our rights, and if they could repeal the Second Amendment, they would do it. And look at how draconian every gun law is in Jersey. Look at how they don't grandfather magazines. Look at how extreme the penalties are. Look at how they created the gun owner gulag. And I mean, all this that they do, I just don't believe it's for some noble cause. It's more about their hatred of us, and that really is what fires them up. That's what the left is all about, hatred. And they hate us. And this is how their hate is translated into these so-called do-gooder laws. It just is a better explanation from my experience in seeing what the gun laws do to good people, Teddy.
Yeah. So
But let me tell you, it doesn't mean that we can't have guns, that we can't enjoy our guns, and we can still keep fighting, and we don't want to give up. And we're making progress, even though Jersey's the toughest environment. And this is where it's very important that you have a range to go to. And the range where Teddy and I shoot is We Shoot. We Shoot is in Lakewood. They're a great indoor range. They have great training and a great pro shop, and get your certification you need for your C care for carry, and really just a great place. And We Shoot has some pretty cool stuff they're offering in June here. They have a Smith & Wesson Performance Center Bodyguard 2.0 carry comp with blue titanium finish. It is a stunning evolution of the Bodyguard platform, very popular platform. And it features all these performance center enhancements with an integrated compensator and that really cool blue titanium finish. So check it out. I think you really dig that. Bodyguard. They also have a Sig Sauer P211 Comp GTO. Now, this is Sig's latest high performance masterpiece. This gun blends race gun speed with premium craftsmanship, and it just takes it to another level. They also have Henry Big Boy Steel X. Now, the Henry Big Boy is a modern lever action. It's a powerhouse with a threaded barrel, and that's okay on a lever action. You can have a threaded barrel on your lever action. Side loading gate and rugged steel construction, proving that tradition and innovation can ride side by side. And so check out those. By the way, Molly Friedman joins the Many Faces of 2A, and she's reminding us that the Second Amendment belongs to every American from all walks of life. They are running some great June promotions beyond those really cool guns. There's 25% off all heritage firearms, $200 off family membership, 10% off all new firearms, 15% off all used firearms and 15% off private lessons. So this is great. Get down to We Shoot. We Shoot in Lakewood. Go to WeShoot.com. It's WeShootUSA.com. WeShootUSA.com. Check out their website. Beautiful photography. Pay a visit there in Lakewood. You'll be glad you did. And let me also shamelessly promote my book, which is New Jersey Gun Law. It's the Bible of New Jersey gun law. It's over 500 pages, 120 topics, and explains what you need to know about New Jersey gun law. It's used by, well, everybody that wants to know about New Jersey gun law. Go to evannappen.com and get your copy today so you can hopefully not become a go-foo, because Jersey loves to make go-foos. Teddy, what else do you have that you may have discovered in your travels?
Well, as you know, press checks are always free. And one of the things that is, again, we always want to do our opposition research and to see what their currently the gun rights oppressionists are pushing or crying about. And we go to our good friends at The Trace, as they put out an article where it's Trump's Justice Department is suing cities and states to dismantle gun laws. So again, this is where we always have to
make sure our list that The Trace is Bloomberg's mouthpiece, the anti-gun Bloomberg mouthpiece. So they're Oppo research for sure. So what do they say?
Yeah, so they're whining about the fact that they no longer have the strong arm of the United States government to go after our rights. Instead, oh my God, the Civil Rights Division is fighting for the Second Amendment.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. government is actually fighting for the Constitution?
I know, amazing, right?
When did that happen?
Well, apparently, and this was a big shocker even to The Trace, where they even talk about the article. I love how it's like, this department was used for fighting civil rights discrimination for black voting and school segregations. It was never has been a focus on gun rights, said former attorney of the division, who focused on red lines, which, can't wait to hear all that wonderful things that went on with redlining.
Well, so what? I mean, the Second Amendment is also a constitutional right and a civil right, and they absolutely should be protecting all civil rights. And they particularly should not be going against any civil right. So under Biden and prior administrations, they weaponized these agencies to actually go against Second Amendment rights. And now the agencies are actually doing their job and enforcing Second Amendment rights, and The Trace apparently can't stand it. Plus, they've lost so much money that they used to get from the taxpayer. I mean, this is the effects of election having consequences. And it's President Trump and his administration that are making these great changes. And you see it taking place here, and they're upset about it.
And this is for, like, every time I hear the black pillars go like, he's not doing enough for the Second Amendment. Are you kidding me? Having the Civil Rights Division fighting all of these blue-on strongholds, fighting for our rights, taking down. This is how we lost our rights through salami tactics. This is how it, piece by piece. Sure enough, and I love this timeline, mind you, of the Spamberg, the guy they're talking, they actually mentioned this in the Trace article about Spamberg signing the assault weapon ban. The Assistant Attorney General, Dillon, posts on X, "See you in court." Imagine not having an AG, having an Assistant Attorney General in your government saying, "We're going to fight to defend your rights." When was that ever in any administration?
Take on the state that's stomping on Second Amendment rights. But Teddy, you mentioned the black pillars What do you, just so our listeners know, what does that term mean, the black pillars? It's not about race at all. What does that
They're
term mean, black pillars?
they're the horseshoe right, where they're the ones arguing that Donald Trump isn't done enough, he hasn't met any of his promises. And look, no one is perfect. No one can. He is not a king. He can't just snap his fingers and say, "All right, we're gonna send in all the National Guard, point the guns at all the governors, and force them to sign bills recognizing the Second Amendment." Like that's not how that works. It's about fighting in the system, going after these policies state by state through the courts. Because believe me, they've had all their politically appointed judges who, I mean, they just did an executive order on, he did an executive order stopping the massive funding to the H-1Bs to allow them to get houses, and a judge stopped that through a judge blocking
Well,
him.
the activist
So-
judges are always causing him problems, and he has to go higher levels to overturn. We see it
Yeah.
every time.
yeah,
And
but
they're the appointees normally from the prior administrations. And this is where Trump's breaking the mold of the old government ways. And these judges can't believe that somebody would actually have the balls to do that, and yet he does. Hey, Teddy, I want to mention about this week's GoFu. It's very important. As you know, GoFu's are gun owner F-ups, and we want to make sure that our listeners learn these expensive lessons for free that others have learned. I'm going to have you tell us what you think is a good GoFu this week for us to discuss.
So this is something that I've been seeing, like with all the primaries coming up, and I always like to imagine all the Democrat candidates just get handed the talking points, like it's a sheet, like, okay, what gun control thing are we pushing for? For some reason, they've all dragged out the safe storage as the next big dog whistle of an issue that they're trying to make it relevant. Safe storage, where we need to push for, like it was Tallarico, the vegan, it's whatever, this guy's a moron, but he pushes for like safe storage laws requiring safe storage of firearms to keep everyone safe.
Okay, now under Heller, you're not required to lock up your safety. Heller addressed that in the original decision. But New Jersey does have a law that says you cannot allow a minor to access a loaded firearm. So when it comes to minors accessing your guns, and Jersey also makes transfer laws so that you can't transfer temporarily a firearm, even your spouse or family member, unless you're at the range or while hunting. So there's issues with transfer, there's issues that have to do with storage, but what they're looking to do here is create what is mandatory storage requirements so that, while someone's breaking into your home, you just got to ask the hot home invader, that's doing a hot robbery, just give me a second so I can get my gun out of the safe, okay? I'll be right with you while they're going to rape and kill your family. So this is a problem, but the GoFu component, particularly in New Jersey, is making sure that you don't have unauthorized parties access your firearm, that you never let a minor access loaded firearm, and unless it's where you're within an exemption where they're under your direct supervision. But just leaving it at home unlocked where a minor can access, you got criminal potential problems there. And then on storage of your firearm under the carry killer law, you got to make sure that if you're going to use that exemption, that your gun is unloaded and locked, and secured in that manner. Otherwise, you can get charged for improper storage of your firearm in violation of the carry killer bill and sensitive places. So these are the areas where storage in Jersey takes on a legal component where you can end up with a GOFU. But what you're talking about is also very important because it's another, foot in the door by the antis to try to abuse the storage laws to disenfranchise and take away gun rights. And New Jersey has done that to a certain degree here in the carry killer law and some of the other laws that they put forward about having to secure firearms. It's designed to create disenfranchisement of Second Amendment rights, arrests, and even at minimum taking away gun licenses over the use of these rules that they, again, put forward in the name of public safety and do it even contrary at times to the decision in Heller. Hey, this is Evan Nappen and Teddy Nappen reminding you that gun laws don't protect honest citizens from criminals. They protect criminals from honest citizens.
Gun Lawyer is a Counterthink media production. The music used in this broadcast was managed by Cosmo Music, New York, New York. Reach us by emailing evan@gun.lawyer. The information and opinions in this broadcast do not constitute legal advice. Consult a licensed attorney in your state.